new this hour, financial literacy has stalled across the country, with lots of adults struggling to answer basic questions about money.
But some Valley students are bucking that trend. They just competed in a national competition showcasing their financial skills. Undersized Susan Campbell spoke with the team from Hamilton High School out of Chandler about what they learned and, more importantly, maybe what we can learn from them.
Yeah, these teenagers were amazing, answering so many questions so quickly.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they did not win yesterday's competition, but they are still way ahead of the game. Research shows us the earlier kids learn about money, debt, and risk, the better off they're going to be in the future.
When it comes to financial literacy, Arizona gotta be on its latest report card.
What is the largest determining factor of your credit score?
Payment history.
But these students are acing their tests.
Defined benefit retirement plan is also known as what?
A pension.
This team from Hamilton High School just competed in the National Personal Finance Challenge hosted by the Council for Economic Education. We got up with them at a practice as they got ready to test their money skills.
You get to look at how people manage their finances, how you can help them improve.
We like to do these sort of puzzles to sort of solve families' financial situations.
With teams like this, students across the country learn about saving, spending, investing, and managing risk. Topics a lot of adults still struggle to understand. According to the Personal Finance Index, U.S. adults correctly answered just 49% of questions that measure financial literacy. Among Gen Z, that dropped to only 38%.
Let's think about this for a second, right? There's about $1.7 trillion in student loan debts in the country right now. Most Americans today cannot cover about $1,000 worth of emergencies. They don't have that in their bank accounts. And just think about just the snowball effect that this creates from family to family, community to community.
It's why there are so many groups working to get more financial literacy into classrooms.
Maybe working with Arizona legislature in order to promote like a full forced personal finance classes in order to make sure that students are the most prepared for their future is probably a good idea.
There's obviously a lot to learn. It's still
There is a lot to learn. If you want to brush up on your financial literacy, start with the basics of a budget and do not be afraid to ask questions when you're opening up a bank account or starting a new insurance policy. When it comes to financial literacy, there are a lot of big words, and some of these things are things we only do once or twice in a lifetime, like buying a house. The first time you buy a house, maybe the word escrow is confusing to you. It is okay to say, hold on, I need to know what this means. Tell me, and just ask the questions. Start that conversation so you feel empowered.
Got to start somewhere, for sure.
Absolutely.
Great job to those kids.
Oh my goodness, yes, congratulations to them. They were awesome.
Thank you, Susan.